Do they see the way you track my lips when I walk past and brush your hip? I'm your English gentleman. You call me your English gentleman.
Welcome to another edition of Clyde Beats People. In this edition of Clyde Beats People, we focus on a piece of music by Atjazz featuring Clyde Beats, Jorge Bezzera and Octavio and Santos. Every piece of music is a synergy of the individual parts of the people behind it. It might be the musicians, it might be audio engineers, it could be someone in a session who pointed out or suggested something interesting. But it's usually about the relationships and the friendships that instigated the writing process. And that leads us on to person number one. Person number one is Atjazz. He's an artist I've known personally since he was 17. And his new album, Starbase 17, sees his writing and production elevate to higher levels. Now, Martin gave me a piece of music, and it was a real juxtaposition of sounds. It was an unusual BPM. It had some quite notable trap hi-hats on it, but what stood out was the signature Atjazz pads, to which I wrote some initial harmonies, and that leads us on to person number two. And so person number two is Clyde Beats, yours truly. As I mentioned, Martin Atjazz Iveson gave me a piece of music, but I'd already been working on a concept for a song called English Gentleman, and it was inspired by a somewhat unrequited relationship I had with an overseas girlfriend. And when we were out with her friends, she would often jokingly refer to me as her English gentleman.
Excuse me if I loathe the tune. You left your headphones at my home. I think you hear me clearly though.
Person number three is Jorge Bezzera. Now, you might have come across his name with the percussion work he did with Xiamen. This dude is a Grammy-winning percussionist, and it got to a stage where he thought it needed some percussion. And so he put the call into George. And let me tell you, when the percussion tracks came in, listening to it as a standalone track was mind-blowing. So please pay attention to the percussion on an English Gentleman. And so person number four is Octavio and Santos. Again, I've known this guy for a number of years, and I've worked on many projects with him. When I want some horn flavor on my tracks, Octavio is the man. And he got this straight away. In fact, I'm going to keep quiet. Open up your ears and listen to the horns on this. So there we have it. the people behind Atjazz, English Gentleman, featuring Clyde Beats, Jorge Bezzera, and Octavio and Santos. So yeah, next time you listen to it, give some thought to the people behind the music. Then you're going to hear English Gentleman as part of Atjazz's new album, Starbase 17, available on all streaming and download platforms. And so I will catch you again in the next edition of Clyde Beats People.
Gentlemen.